Take a look at credit cards and how to determine what your finance will be based on an average daily balance. So we look at what we're starting with. We know that on July 1st, we had a balance of $375.80. So that's what we were beginning with. Our billing cycle went from July 1st to July 31st. So we want to know how many days are in the billing cycle. Well, we know that we're talking about the 1st to the 30 through the 31st. So a quick way to do it is 31 minus 1, which gets you 30. But then we could take that 30 and add 1 because we are going through the 31st. So we have 31 days. Now we know our annual interest rate, it's 15.6%. So what we want to do first is calculate our average daily balance. Now to find the average daily balance, we're looking at our average of all of our purchases throughout the month or throughout the billing cycle. So we want to know on each day what our balance was, and then we'll calculate the average over these 31 days. So we know that originally we started with a balance of $375.80. That was our beginning balance. Now it didn't stay that for very long because on July 5th we made a payment. So we know that we started July 1st for this billing cycle. July 5th, something happened, so our balance will change. So I'll make that a new line. Similarly, July 10th, we made a charge. July 18th, we made another charge. And July 28th, we had another charge. So if we're trying to see when our balance was these certain amounts, we need to know through what days these were occurring. So July 1st through July 4th, we were at $375.80. But on July 5th, we made a purchase or a payment. So $375.80 gets decreased by the $150 payment that we made. So that means our balance over the course of these days was $225.80. And that happened until through July 9th, because on July 10th, we made another purchase, or something else occurred, we made a purchase. And that means that our balance, which was now at $225.80, actually increased by $74.35, which gets us our balance for these days as $300.15. Now this was only through July 17th, because on July 18th we had another charge. So we take our balance of $300.15. We're going to add to that $123.50, which gets us a balance of $423.65 for these days, which went all the way until July 27th. Because on the 28th, again, there was one more charge. So our balance of $423.65 increased some more by $142.50 to get $566.15. And this occurred up until the end of our cycle, which is July 31st. Now, since we know that these are our balances for those dates, what we can do in order to find the average is to see how many days this balance actually occurred for. So if we're looking at the dates from the 1st through the 4th, that's going to be for 4 days. From the 5th to the 9th, that will be for 5. The 10th to the 17th, again, you can just be counting these, have 8. From the 18th to the 27th, we'll have 10. And then July 28th through the 31st, we have 4. So if we add all of these up, we'll get a total of 31 days, which agrees with what we said previously was the number of days in our billing cycle. So now we know that for 4 days, we were at this balance. So if we're trying to calculate the average daily balance, we need to know the balance for every single day in our billing cycle. So you could go and write $375.80 plus $375.80 plus $375.80, trying to account for those 4 days. But the quicker way to calculate this average is to know that that balance occurred for 4 days. So we say 4 times $375.80. Now the next balance, $225.80, occurred for 5 days. So we'll do 5 times $225.80, and we'll continue this. We know for 8 days we were at $300.15. For 10 days we were at $423.65. And for 4 days we were at this final balance of $566.15. So that would get us our balance for every single one of these days. And to calculate the average, we divide by the total number of days, which is 31. Which, if we plug this into our calculator, we'll get 11,534.50 divided by 31, which gets us 372.08064. But we want to round to the nearest penny. So we have 8 cents here. We look to the right. That's a 0. So we keep it as it is. We round down. It'll be 372 and 8 cents. This is our average daily balance. Now to calculate our finance charge. The finance charge is really just simple interest calculated on your average daily balance. So we know that simple interest can be found by taking your principal times your rate times your time. In our case, we're going to have our principal being that average daily balance, 372.08. Our interest rate is 15.6%. 15.6%. So we'll write that as a decimal. We'll get 0.156. And for our time, we're only talking about these 31 days out of 365 because we need it in terms of years. There's only a portion of a year. When we punch that in, you're going to end up with 4.9298. If we look to the nearest penny, okay, that's 2. You look to the right, that tells us to round up. So it's going to be 4.93. That's our finance charge. Now for a try this.